Listen, have you ever had that nagging feeling that the game was rigged before you even sat down at the table? Like somebody up there looked at the blueprint for humanity and said, you know what? Let's make them defective right out of the womb. That'll keep them coming back for the warranty. Well, friends, grab a log, pull up a stump, and welcome to Firelight Dialogues. I'm Pat Kansoer, skeptic, reluctant philosopher, and the guy who can still believe we're all walking around with invisible spiritual parking tickets from a guy who ate forbidden fruit 6,000 years ago. Tonight we're poking the hornet's nest called original sin. That cheerful little doctrine that says you, me, your sweet grandma, and every newborn screaming in the nursery are already screwed because our great, 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 multiple number great grandpas, Adam, couldn't keep it in his fig leaf. Now, this is one man's opinion, of course. Take what you need and leave the rest. But I'm going to lay it out straight the way I see it. Is this God's way of saying, welcome to the family business? Here's your guilt starter pack? Or is it the most elegant control system ever sold in the name of love? We're going to unpack it. No incense, no robes, just firelight and straight talk. Stick around. You might leave lighter, or at least laughing at how heavy the baggage is. All right, let's do this thing. Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, supposedly share the same God, same starter kit of stories. Yet only one branch turned Adam's snack into a hereditary felony that damns every single human ever born. Spoiler, it's the Christians, the Western ones. Anyway, the Western ones. Augustine, 4th century North African bishop, former party animal turned theology nerd, looked at the world's mess and said, this can't be our fault alone. Must be baked in. He read Romans 5, where Paul says, sin came through one man, squinted hard, and decided, boom! Every baby inherits not just mortality, not just a tendency to screw up, but actual guilt. You're born in the red. Concupiscence, fancy word for your wiring being sexually and morally jacked up from day one. Augustine was so convinced sex itself was the transmission vector, he basically made the church obsessed with it for centuries. Now, the Bible does have that sins of the father line in Exodus 25, God visiting the father's iniquity on the kids to the 3rd and 4th generation. Sounds brutal, right? Except Ezekiel 18 and Deuteronomy 24 straight up say, nah, each person dies for their own sin. The prophets walked it back. But Augustine and the Western Church ran with the collective guilt version anyway. They turned Adam into the ultimate deadbeat dad, whose parking tickets we're all still paying. Judaism? Nope. They say Adam messed up the world, sure. But you're born neutral, 2 inclinations, good and evil, and the choice is yours. Islam? Adam and Eve ate the fruit, said, my bad. God forgave them on the spot. Every kid starts clean, no cosmic cooties. Only Christianity, the Augustinian flavor that won the West, said, actually, you're all pre-condemned. Sign here for the cure. It's kind of genius marketing if you think about it. Create the disease, control the only pharmacy. Historically, this thing was pure power tool. Pelagius rolled up in the 400s and said, hey, humans can choose good. Augustine called in the emperor, got Pelagius labeled a heretic, and suddenly the official line is, you're helpless without grace. And guess who dispenses the grace? The church. Infant baptism becomes mandatory to wash off the stain, apparently because God was cool damning babies until we dunked them like donuts. Medieval popes built entire economies on guilt. Confess, pay, repeat. Protestants kept the doctrine, but swapped the middleman for faith alone. Still left you convinced you're a worm who needs saving. Look, I'm not saying every priest was twirling a mustache, going, control the peasants. A lot of them genuinely believed it explained why the world sucks. But the effect? A species-wide self-esteem problem that only the institution could fix. You can't succeed on your own. Good thing we're here. That's not love. That's a subscription model with eternal stakes. Now, does that mean the perception is 100% right? Close enough. Christianity did build a system where the creation is born failing the entrance exam and needs the official tutor. The other two Abrahamic faiths looked at the same story and said, try harder and talk to God directly. Different operating systems. So, what do we do with it out here by the fire? I say laugh. Laugh at the sheer audacity of a theology that tells a newborn, sorry kid, you already owe back taxes on Eden. Laugh at how many wars, guilt trips, and really awkward youth group talks came from one guy's bad exegesis and mommy issues with sex. And then, decide for yourself. If the doctrine helps you be kinder, more humble, quicker to own your stuff, great. If it just keeps you feeling broke, so you stay in the pews, maybe trade it in for the Jewish or Islamic editions where you're responsible but not pre-doomed. Either way, the fire doesn't care what doctrine you brought. It just burns. And that, friends, feels more honest than any inherited guilt ever did. Before we let the embers die, a quick word from the guy who actually pays for the firewood. If this hearth feels like home, if these dialogues around the fire are scratching an itch the noise of the world can't touch, do me 3 favors and 1 gentle nudge. First, hit subscribe. Doesn't cost you a dime, but it tells the algorithm that the fire's worth keeping lit. Secondly, share an episode link with one person who's tired of the shouting matches online. Conversation, not confrontation. That's the whole point here. Third, drop me a line at info@patsanswers.com. That's info @patsanswers.com. Tell me what's burning in your mind. Best emails get read on future episodes or become future episodes. And finally, if you like the short stories that grew out of these very fireside thoughts, the ones where ordinary folks wrestle with the same big questions with a little more whiskey and a lot more sarcasm, consider grabbing the Firelight Dialogues paperback on Amazon. It's not scripture, it's just honest. And every copy helps keep this clearing open for the next wanderer who needs it. Thanks for sitting with me tonight. The fire's always here. Bring your own questions. Until next time, keep it light, question the dark, and for God's sake, don't blame the kids for Adam's apple.